thank you so much for sharing that with us, and Congresswoman Lee for supporting this. As you can see, options for parents based on unique needs and skills of children is what we need to aim for. And this is just another step. I'm not saying we've done everything that we need to accomplish nationwide when it comes to empowering parents and decisions for children, but this is certainly the first mile in a marathon. And I, for one, as you heard and as you see, have a lot of energy and determination to get things done. So we will finish this marathon, but today is a celebration of that first mile. And I want to thank all of the kids and the professionals and the teachers and administrators for being with us here today. I'm sure every kid up here is a straight A student, right? You got to set the expectations high. Now, you will be straight A students, right? But thank you for being here and joining us. It really means a lot to us. And for you, for being here to celebrate this mile in our marathon to achieve a full parent empowerment and school choice across our nation, and a celebration of the One Big Beautiful Bill. We would be happy to take any questions if you have them.
Senator.
It's okay. I go by anything.
What about any concerns when it comes to traditional public schools and funding there? What is your response to those who are concerned if these private scholarships take students from traditional public schools? What happens to funding there?
So that's a great question, and I want to start by reiterating what I talked about in my initial remarks, which this scholarship program is funded by donations, not federal funds. So it is all private donations, and there's no end to this program. So we can keep building upon, improving this program, making it easier to donate, making it more beneficial to donate. But certainly that is a great question, because I want to again reiterate, this is not federal dollars, this is private donations that goes to these tax credit scholarships. It's encouraging people to give to those that might need a different educational opportunity and foundation based on their specific needs. And I, for one, as I know our legislature and our leaders here, Governor DeSantis and President Trump, are committed to making sure students are achieving we're reaching educational goals, and that is whatever setting. And we're committed to making sure that all of these options have the resources they need to be committed to objective goals that we can deliver for kids across the country. Any other questions?
The secretary, she just left. However, a question that many people have asked and they want to know is just about the dismantling of the entire department in Washington, D.C. How could that impact Florida?
And I think you're specifically referring to the Department of Education, which, remember, the Department of Education, as it looks right now, the structural formation of the Department of Education, that started in 1980, right? So before that, it looked different. It wasn't that the federal government wasn't hoping to supplement what the states were doing in terms of achieving educational goals for their kids. It just looked different structurally through the federal government. And I think when we're talking about this administration, President Trump, Secretary McMahon, they've been clear that structure, we shouldn't be bound to a specific structure, especially since it changes over time. Historically, what we should be bound to is our commitment to student achievement and delivering on results. And the structure we have in place right now hasn't been doing that. So we would not be good leaders, and certainly they would tell you, it would make no sense to not examine how we've been doing things and whether we can do things better, whether that's in how we deliver education, how we structure the federal government to supplement either state efforts or giving them more responsibility and resources to do it based on what their kids need. We have to be able to examine structure, or it would make absolutely no sense. You keep doing the same things the same way over and over again and expect results to change. That's insane. And so, based on the performance levels of our kids right now, they haven't delivered under this structure. So we have to examine new ways. I don't expect that the Department of Education, if it changes in the way it looks structurally, won't focus on meeting the needs of kids. It might just be done in different agencies, or as Secretary McMahon said, let's push more responsibility back down to the states, into the local areas, because the bureaucracy that is closest to the kids can understand the needs of that area, and that's where that should be. Any other questions?
In regards to the school vouchers,
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, again, I will go back to my response to the first question. I am the product of public schools. I loved my schools. I can still talk to you about my principals and the teachers. It was great for me. But that is not true for every kid. In fact, you heard Congresswoman Lee say about her experiences in serving the Pepin Academy and watching kids with certain needs flourish in a unique environment dedicated specifically to them, and parents had the ability to use tax credit scholarships to make that possible. That wouldn't have been the case without these tax credit scholarships. So I don't care if you're talking about traditional public schools or charter schools, which are still within the public system, or private schools or homeschooling, whatever it may be. These scholarships will help make parents not only give them the option, because these schools can exist if they have the resources and the support to do that, but it also gives those of any socioeconomic background the ability to afford that option and make it possible. And not just tuition. We forget about all those ancillary expenses that go along with it: transportation, books, technology, tutoring. You know, people forget I served as a juvenile delinquency judge for a long time. And I even volunteered to stay in that division and run the division. I cared so much about the kids that were making poor decisions at that moment in time in their life when it could affect the rest of their lives. And seeing unique needs in front of me every single day still drives me in this role. And I know if kids have a place they can go, not only to learn the core academic subjects, but how to be productive, responsible citizens of good character with integrity, want to be a positive influence in this world, and learn every day at a place where they feel valued based on their even with their individual needs, and that those are focused on, and that people see a bright future for them, that is so important. And that can be offered in some of these non-traditional educational institutions. So absolutely not. We still must support public schools. They are a big part of the communities in which we live. They are the fabric of many communities, and we will keep supporting them. And I think that's a great question for our leaders in Tallahassee. I believe they would reiterate that here. But certainly this federal program aims to expand options and make sure that every kid has a bright future ahead and the ability to access institutions to meet their individual needs. Any other questions? All right. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ashley. My question is, for 14 and a half years, I was in all the schools representing colleges, and they paid me to go out and speak to the students all over the state of Florida, different territories, different schools. My point is, or my question to you is, how do you plan on getting this information to the teachers, to the principals, to the families? Because every single year that I would work with the students, over and over again, they didn't know where the scholarships were, they didn't know how to access information, they weren't sure where they were going to go. That's why I would go out and speak to them as a motivational speaker and do presentations. But I would encourage them to look into their future. They didn't even know you could go to the library and get information. I mean, they didn't understand that because they weren't being encouraged to do that all the time. Now, again, there were teachers that did do that. Why they brought me in, because I represented Tampa Technical Institute, International Academy of Alternative Education. And now I represent the Army. But the bottom line is, how do you plan on getting this information and access to women like you, and thank you for your presentation, and so that they can use and utilize everything that we're discussing?
That is a fabulous question. And I will tell you, as I was thinking this morning about being with all of you and talking about this great bill and what it was going to do for choice across this nation, that is an exact thought that I had. The law will be executed through agency regulations, which, as you heard the Secretary say, will be developed in the next year or so. And I believe, and we will focus on making sure that that is part of that rulemaking process, that they take that into consideration. This will be administered through organizations in the different states, the scholarship organizations, and certainly I know that that's important to them because indeed this is being done for the students. We want them to know about it. But certainly that can be something that they address as they're developing how this is going to be rolled out. So thank you for that. I had the exact same concern, and we will make sure that that's focused on when they start developing it. I would also encourage you and anyone else that is watching this and saying, what is this ultimately going to look like? How can we make sure that this is a success? How can we make sure that the students this is meant to reach and help are actually reached? Pay attention to that rulemaking process. People don't realize often that when Congress enacts a law, the agencies then have to take what Congress enacted and roll it out, implement that. And there are ways for notice and comment before those are finalized. That is built into that rulemaking process. So it is a great question, not because I agree with you and I can make sure that I'm paying attention to that too, but also to say if you are watching this or sitting here today, it's done, we've made the announcement, we've celebrated mile 1 and we're done. No. Be engaged. Watch the rulemaking process. Offer comment. Tell them what's working and what is not. One of the biggest criticism when we roll out rules is that they're not talking to the people it will affect. So comment. Engage. It is your government. It is your government. I could repeat that until I am blue in the face. That is why I'm in Washington. That is why I have sacrificed time with my own family to serve you. Because this government is yours. The minute we start looking at government as separate from we the people, that is a dangerous place to be in a free society and a democracy. Be engaged. Stay engaged. It is your government. These are your laws. And I appreciate you being here today so that we could deliver and report to you what we are doing for you, for your government. We are your avatars in Washington. Super cool avatars. The coolest of them all. But it is for you. So thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.